Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anindra Singh Gupta. I represent the product Nutanix Beam. I'm with my colleague Rudra. Between the two of us, we'll cover two of the new products in the Nutanix portfolio and take you through a journey of how this helps our customers who are on cloud. So in terms of the customers that we interact with and whoever is in their cloud journey, we're clearly seeing them in a phase where cloud management is becoming more and more of a challenge. As you keep growing your install base on cloud, we see them dealing with questions around how do we drive orchestration of their cloud environments? How do we really drive compliance? What's my overall application health looking like? Do I have a map of what do I have on a cloud? How do I drive management? How do I drive costs? And these are cloud management and cost management and security management and application management issues that we're seeing our customers deal with. In today's session, we'll talk about two of the products in Nutanix portfolio that address some of these cloud management challenges. In the first section, I'll talk about Beam, our multi-cloud governance product, and then followed by Rudra, who'll talk about our application health monitoring product, Epoch. Moving on to Beam. Beam's a product that focuses on cost and security compliance optimization. When we look at how customers are using cloud environment, what we're seeing is a constant sprawl of resources on cloud. Sometimes it's a single cloud. Sometimes we see our customers driving multi-cloud and hybrid clouds. And then what's really important is they want a single pane of glass to be able to drive their cost governance and compliance. And this is where Beam comes in. And Beam's focus from the day it started, the product has been in the market for the last 4 years, and we recently got acquired by Nutanix. But from the initial days, we were focused on how do you make cloud management simple, and how do you make it easy for our customers to get an overall visibility on what the cloud environment is. Based on our learnings and our working with our customers, what we realized is Beam's focus is to really help our customers with 3 key business outcomes: visibility, optimization, and control. And the way we do it is through automation throughout the lifecycle. The focus is to really help us understand where things are going wrong, find out insights to deliver to our customers, optimize them, and also really drive a business-based control framework for our customers. I'll take you through specific use cases. When it comes to managing spend, one of the biggest challenges around visibility is when you're managing multiple accounts across multiple regions with hundreds and tens of linked accounts. How do you get a single pane of glass where you can see what's your spend, what's the trend, how can you analyze data, how can you filter by customers, by applications, by workloads? The visibility that Beam provides helps you get a single pane of glass that gives you all your insights on how you're spending, and also insights around where you can quickly save costs. The other aspect is not only just do we tell you how do you really look at cost insight information, but we have the one-click capability of helping drive cost control as well. So Beam not only provides you the ability to see what's wrong, we have access and we have the ability to, through automation and one-click fix, actually help you reduce and optimize cost. The other aspect which is very important for our customers is as they look at their overall investments in cloud, there are features like RI that help you plan for that, but it's not a trivial problem. And Beam runs machine intelligence-based algorithms that helps you decide what's the right RI strategy. When you really have to do RIs, you have to go down to instance family level at a particular AZ, and for the platform that you support, and the number of combinations possible across all regions is humongous. How do you find through data analysis what's your right recommendation is something that Beam helps you with. The last piece from our overall value prop is control. And where Beam really stands out is not only does it help you with the insights and optimization, it really helps you define business policy-driven governance control. Two of the use cases that we help is one around chargebacks. So when you basically working with your cloud environment, you might be an internal service provider or you could be a service provider yourself. And how do you make sure that the accounts, the AWS environments that you manage are rightly charged back to the right teams, groups, businesses? Beam's chargeback module helps you drive basic tag-based and policy-based allocation of costs, and you can actually control that through Beam and also manage things that are untagged and be able to kind of drive chargebacks effectively. The other piece where Beam's really useful is also from a budget management perspective. Not only are you looking at whom to charge how much, but you also want to track against budgets. Each team would have their own budgets. You have to track compliance and variance against budget. You want alerts around when things are going against your budget controls, and all that can be tracked and managed through Beam. So this is a quick snapshot of what we are able to help our customers in driving cost governance. I'll move on to the second capability that Beam has, and which is really around compliance. Anybody who has moved to cloud has had to answer a question to at least some execs or some customers around security and compliance. While we strongly believe that public cloud's really bringing the depth and security in the product, but we still have to control and govern it. And given the fact that in a cloud environment, where you're basically looking at resources that are ephemeral and scaling in and out, and you really don't control the life cycle at a fine-grained time level, it's almost humanly impossible to drive compliance through manual means. And then Beam's philosophy has been to drive automated compliance from day one. What we're able to do is, with the access that we get from our customers, Beam scans the overall cloud environments that we manage, and it already runs about 250-odd detailed audit checks that we call, which are really around the best practices in security and compliance, and are able to give you a security heat map of how your cloud resources are faring from a threat perspective. We are also able to give you very specific views specific to your business groups or entities that we call security centers. Not only are we able to kind of give a visibility, what we're able to do is give very specific recommendations around compliance audits. So Beam supports PCI, HIPAA, CIS, and the fact is, apart from the standard industry compliance available, we're able to basically extend that by creating custom compliance policies. Similar to the philosophy that we have in terms of actually driving one-click remediation, even in the compliance module, we not only give you a threat impact assessment and what potentially is going wrong, a majority of the audits are something that you can remediate through our one-click fix. And we continue to build on a philosophy of an action-oriented platform. The last thing, which is also very important, Beam, is while we have a bunch of audits available, if you're not satisfied with our inventory of audit checks that drives compliance, we have custom audits where basically you can define the kind of compliance checks that you need for your business and then really codify through engine that we created, which is a Python-based audit platform, and that adds that to the overall audit that we have. And then with that, our product is extensible. And the last, the thing around control, we said we have dashboards that give you control around the standard regulatory compliance. We have alerting mechanisms. We're able to basically make sure that you're able to define the policy, make sure your complete environment is in tune with what your compliance requirements are. We're able to remediate that, and then make sure it's an ongoing control in process. With that, I'd like to kind of conclude this part of the section. Before we hand over to Rudra for the next section, I'd invite you to kind of do a Beam trial. It is available free for you to use. Just go to nutanix.com/beam and sign up, and that'll show you the power of the tool, and look forward to having you check the product as well. With that, I'll hand it over to Rudra. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Anindya. Hi, I'm Rudra Ruge. I'm a Senior Director of Engineering at Nutanix, and I'm responsible for the Epoch product line. So Epoch is our monitoring and observability solutions, which came in as part of one of the acquisitions. There was research being done at University of Pennsylvania, and Netsil was the company that was acquired by Nutanix, and this is the product that we are launching right now this week. So what is the problem that Epoch is trying to solve? You know, fundamentally, we are moving from monolithic architectures to microservices-based architectures, API-driven architectures. So what is happening is you have Kubernetes deployments, your Mesosphere deployments, and even OpenStack. Fundamentally, all your applications are moving to this microservices-based model where services are talking to each other through API endpoints. You could also compare your virtual machines being pets and your pods or containers being as cattle, as the pets versus cattle analogy. And in that case, what happens is it poses new challenges on monitoring and observability. Previously, you were just monitoring VM resources and connectivity. But as we move into pods and Kubernetes environments, things are ephemeral. They are portable from one cloud to another. You could deploy it on AWS and move it into a Kubernetes cluster on-prem. So because of all this portability, it's a huge challenge to understand how applications are communicating with each other. In addition to that, there's a variety of languages. So if you're looking at code instrumentation, there's Python, Golang, and so on. So code instrumentation is also a non-trivial challenge as we move forward. While we do that, you have a variety of Linux distributions. There's Debian, Ubuntu, CentOS, and different Windows Server versions. And people do want to monitor apps running in all these different environments. So as we look through these challenges, Epoch is something that we looked at to build with a network-centric approach. So monitoring for cloud applications, the first thing that Epoch provides is instant observability. What we are trying to do is go with a network-centric approach. So as soon as you deploy Epoch, we can look at all the traffic, not just at layer 4 and even at layer 7 level. And you can get complete application visibility into any kind of layer 7 app as well. And we have about 200 integrations to look at your SQL queries and so on. What do you do when you look at all this? You're collecting all the metrics and you're pushing it into our data analytics platform, is to have some key performance indicators, such as what is the application health, what is the latency, what is the throughput of these applications. And in the end, as you look through all this, the whole goal of a monitoring and observability solution is to provide your mean time to MTTR or resolution time should be minimal. So when you have an outage, you should be able to drill down based on all the data that has been collected and truly be able to figure out which application is not working well and why. So you need a whole bunch of data that we have to collect to be able to analyze that and present to the user to reduce the outage time for DevOps and IT folks. So the key features that Epoch presents, and this is one of the graphic from our UI, is auto discovery of application maps. So say you have a cluster of an application running in a bunch of VMs, or you've already ported your application over to a Kubernetes cluster. All you have to do is deploy our Epoch agent on all the Kubernetes master or slaves, or in all the EC2 instances if you have it running on AWS. It'll automatically sniff and figure out what the packets are and who's talking to who, and give you a complete application map. So this application map that you see here is actually a list of Kubernetes pods and who's talking to who. In addition, it's color-coded to what's going on with that particular pod as well. In addition to that, we are constantly monitoring system resources. There are golden signals that we call it. There's a white paper that we have written on that, on latency, throughput, error rates, and saturation. Your application map can be layer 4. So I could look at just the layer 4 ports, whether it's TCP or UDP ports. But in addition to that, we have complete protocol reconstruction. So I can look at, as a product from, you can look at deep into HTTP2 reconstruction. You can look at MySQL reconstruction and provide your Cloud SQL latency and so on. Alerting is built into the product. So you can generate alerts based on certain thresholds. So if your latency and your CPU utilization is running at a particular threshold or over some watermarks, we can generate alerts for the product. And this alerting can then it'll go into a notification system, and we have plugins like PagerDuty, or you can do webhooks through Slack or any AWS instances. In addition to that, we have a time series database to give you historical information. So everything that you're generating, all the metrics, are stored in a time series database, so that you can go back in time and see what is the state of your metrics. So if I want to see last 2 hours, last week, or last month, you can actually time travel back and see the exact state of your metrics. In addition, we are also collecting metadata, and I'll talk about that in the next slide on what the internals are. So one of the key things that we have to do is when you enable Epoch, it's a SaaS product. So you go sign in to the SaaS product, and then we give you options to download collectors depending on what is your environment. If your environment is Docker Swarm, Kubernetes, AWS, EC2 instances, accordingly, you'll get the right agent or right collector to download. You go ahead and install these lightweight agents on your VMs. We start capturing packets right away. It's inline, but it's a copy of the packet that we're capturing. And instantly, you'll start getting a visibility into real-time applications. In addition to that, we are also collecting metadata. So metrics is your traffic data, but you would like to know what's the IP address and virtual machine name correlation, or what is the Kubernetes service that is behind, that is front-ending these 3-4 pods with a certain IP. So we really want to make sure that you're able to make it more human-readable. So we have metadata fusion in conjunction with metrics to give you a complete view. And on the backend side, we have our UI console, where you can see all of our alerts and notifications and meet the right service level objectives to ensure that the outage time is reduced. Couple of use cases, application reliability improvements. As DevOps user, when you're deploying, when you're scaling down your old application and bringing up the new application, you want to see what are the performance benchmarks, and you need visibility. And we can collect metrics on all of that and provide how your transition is going on a new deployment. In addition, if you have not installed the collector, a couple of examples are you're talking to a third-party database or an entity where you cannot install a collector. We have what we call as one-hop view or an external API call. We can monitor that traffic as well. So there's a one-hop view which will give you insights into wherever collectors are not installed. Or if you're running on AWS, we can actually get information from CloudWatch and present all the information such as your IOPS for your storage, CPU utilization, memory utilization of all the EC2 instances that you have, your elastic load balancer throughputs and scaling and so on. Moving from application, you can also do infrastructure monitoring. So the standard system metrics, so CPU, network, memory, and disk I/O for a virtual machine, that's available. As I mentioned earlier, we can do complete protocol reconstruction. So you can look at your SQL query, latency, and so on, just by monitoring the network traffic without actually instrumenting anything on your database and so on. So similar to Beam, we have launched this on nutanix.com/epoch. You can get your 14-day free trial today. It's a self-serve page, and you can install up to, unlimited collectors to start with for the first 14 days. And then we drop it down to 5 collectors that you can use for a long time. Do visit us at our booth at Nutanix. And in addition to Beam, Epoch, we have other product lines as well that you can look at for cloud management and orchestration. With that, if you have any questions, yeah?
If you want to just raise your hand, I'll bring you the microphone. Anyone have any questions? Going once, going twice? We're good? All right, I think we're good.
Thank you all.